Hello, my name's Susan. I'd like to share a little bit about my experience with cued speech. I learnt cued speech 18 years ago for my son, who's now aged 21. We were living in France, and I discovered he was profoundly deaf when he was 6 months old, and the doctor in the audiology department in the hospital suggested I learn cued speech to communicate with him. And so I learnt it, and I was very, very slow at the beginning, and it was just as well because every time I tried to say something using cued speech, my son just looked the other way. But eventually he understood that Papa was the person who came home every night, and so once he realised what that meant, he started looking at me intently, and before long he was understanding everything that I said, and I was cueing very slowly at the beginning. I guess it took me about a year to cue as quick as I was speaking. When I started learning cued speech, I wrote to the Dr. Oren Cornett, who invented cued speech, and asked him how I could improve my cued speech, my cueing, and he suggested I go and visit a family in the south of France. He told me I would learn a lot from them through their example, and I went to see this family who had 7 children, and the second eldest child was severely deaf, I think, and they'd introduced cued speech into France, and they were using both French and English cueing with their daughter. Well, she was in a French school, and the family were cueing English at home, and I was very impressed with this family because all of the children cued. My son was 4 at the time, and the whole family cued to him, even the youngest, and it was a huge blessing for us. And the mother especially just cued all the time. She was cooking and doing everything. So that was a spur to cue everything. And from that time, I believe I did cue everything. And I remember the doctor from the hospital coming upon Clyde, my son Clyde, and myself in the train station. And I just sat him on the counter and was cueing all the information. And she was quite surprised. She said, "You really do cue everything." And so I think that's helped him a lot. When my son was 5, he had a cochlear implant, and I was able to explain all about the operation, and he was very calm in the Parisian hospital, and it went really well. And then after the period of convalescence, the electrodes were switched on, and he was shown that he was hearing even very fine sounds. And the most surprising thing was that he started speaking in sentences because he'd had the benefits. He'd been used to being spoken to using cued speech, and he was obviously understanding French very well by that time. And so when he could hear, he began speaking whole sentences, grammatically correct. And I guess he must have been around that, about 12, 13, when I introduced English cued speech to him. But that was always much slower than French cued speech. And so Clyde continued his schooling. For the past maybe 4 or 5 years, he's had a little bit of cueing in school, but not enough. And he's just unfortunately failed his baccalaureate for the 2nd time, but I think he would have been able to succeed if he'd worked harder. But he's definitely got a keen interest in reading, and he understands the French language very well. So cued speech has been a great benefit to my son, and I would warmly recommend it to any parents. Thank you.